Yes, it is early. I am starting uh, quite early this morning, but I looked at the way that my calendar for today is worked out. My schedule today is worked out, and there's just no other way I could squeeze something in before late this afternoon. So I thought I would do it now, hoping that I'm not inconveniencing too many of you out there. Uh, Today I want to kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone. First of all, we started reading Crowley's introduction, an explanation of what the tarot was in his first chapter of the Book of Thoth. Okay, and we got up to a certain point in this introduction a day and a half ago, or 2 days and a half ago, and then other things took over, Crowley's birthday and things like that. Uh, so I said I'd pick it up, and I will pick it up today. But it treats on the subject in Crowley's thing here of the foundation of the Golden Dawn, because to Crowley, his introduction to tarot and tarot's connection with Kabbalah and magic, it came from his experiences in the Golden Dawn and his training in the Golden Dawn. And the genesis of the Golden Dawn was based on what he's going to describe here in just a moment. The discovery of certain cipher manuscripts, and that contained the structure, the foundation, the framework of a magical society. And there was a whole myth that went along with that mysterious manuscript. And as it turns out, when it was objectively analyzed, that the spooky myth of the genesis of the Golden Dawn really did not pan out. It was the manuscripts were written by Mathers himself, and he confessed that he did, and everything else. Nevertheless, it doesn't detract from the fact that it was a work of inspired genius, and it may as well been a wonder story, because the internal evidence that trumped, if you will, the internal evidence and value and quality and importance of the Golden Dawn material itself was testament to its spiritual veracity. Same thing could be said with Crowley and the reception of the Book of the Law. We like to think of Iwas, an angel, a disembodied thing, just like you would see on an HBO series or something, appearing in the back of Crowley's face, dictating the thing. And Crowley did say that he audibly heard the Iwas dictating the Book of the Law. But we have to look at things in objective reality also. If he heard with his ears, as he said he did, it would need to come out of a voice box of some kind, okay? And somebody had to be speaking it to him for his ears to hear the words. And up until that point, for a whole month or more prior to that, Rose was channeling all sorts of information to Crowley and everything else. And we know that Rose was at least near the room where Crowley's dictation was taking place on April 8th, 9th, and 10th. It doesn't detract from me one iota to think that in classic HBO mystery magic horror movie style, Rose couldn't be completely possessed in the room going, the manifestation of the week. Okay. And Crowley writing it down. Crowley called himself the scribe. He called her the seer. Now, whether she's in the room or in the other room or whatever, I don't care. The internal evidence of the Book of the Law is something, proves, I think without a shadow of the doubt, that it was coming from another source other than Rose's grammar school educated vocabulary mouth. Rose was out of the room, but something else was there, and I think it's highly likely, and it doesn't detract from the wonder story of the invocation of Horus and the reception of the Book of the Law, for me to say, yeah, well, the voice box was Rose. She'd been the voice box for the Supreme Invocation on March 20th. Why not? What's the argument here? What's the problem? Are we obliged to think that a vaporous ectoplasmic puff of smoke came into the room and invented a voice box of its own for Crowley to hear audibly? No. And just like the Golden Dawn, when the cipher manuscripts turned out to be, the wonder story of the cipher manuscripts turned out to be what some people call a hoax, so what? Something else was going on there. And the Golden Dawn and the value of the Golden Dawn and the brilliance of the Golden Dawn and the magic of the Golden Dawn is its own internal evidence of the validity of that. And so to paint the wonder story is just literally looking at it through romantic, mystical eyes, but the value of it is not diminished one iota. So, keeping that in mind, I'm going to read a short little thing what Crowley is continuing to say about the Genesis and the meaning of the tarot. And we've gotten to the point of where it is the tarot and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. One must now digress into the history of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the society reconstituted by Dr. Westcott and his colleagues in order to show further evidence as to the authenticity of the claim of the promulgators of the cipher manuscript. Among these papers, besides the attribution of the tarot, were certain skeleton rituals which purported to contain the secrets of initiation. The name, with the address in Germany, of a Fräulein Springel was mentioned as the issuing authority. Dr. Westcott wrote to her, and with her permission, the Golden Order of the Golden Dawn was founded in 1886. The Golden Dawn is merely a name for the outer or preliminary order of the RRAC. Ruby, red rose and Rosicrucis and cross, which is in its turn an external manifestation of the AA, which is the true order of masters. And then see magic. And, there's a footnote there. An impudent mushroom swindler calling itself Order of Hidden Masters has recently appeared and disappeared. So that was probably back in the 40s. Okay. The genius who made this possible was a man named Samuel Liddell Mathers. Not little, but Liddell Mathers. After a time, Fraulein Springle died. A letter written to her asking for more advice, more advanced knowledge, elicited a reply from one of her colleagues. This letter informed Dr. Westcott of her death, adding that the writer and his associates had never approved of Fraulein Springle's actions in authorizing any form of group working, but in view of the great reverence and esteem in which she was held, had refrained from open opposition. He went on to say, "This correspondence must now cease. Thank you, sir, and good day." But that, if they wanted more advanced knowledge, they could perfectly well get it by using in the proper manner the knowledge which they had already possessed. In other words, they must utilize their magical powers to make contact with the secret chiefs of the order. This, incidentally, is a quite normal and traditional mode of procedure. Shortly afterwards, Mathers, who had maneuvered himself into practical headship of the order, announced that he had made this link, that the secret chiefs had authorized him to continue the work of the order as its sole head. There is, however, no evidence that he was here a witness of truth, because no new knowledge of any particular importance came to the order, such as did appear proved to be no more than Mathers could have acquired by normal means from quite accessible sources, such as the British Museum. These circumstances and a great deal of petty intrigue led to serious dissatisfaction among the members of the order. Fraulein Springle's judgment that group working in an order of this sort is possible was shown in this case to be wrong. In 1900, the order in its existing form was destroyed. The point of these data is simply to show that, in time, the main preoccupation with all serious members of the order was to get in touch with the secret chiefs themselves. In 1904, success was attained by one of the youngest members, Frater Perdurabo. And the very fullest details of this occurrence are given in the Equinox of the Gods. Hearkening back to my opening words about where the sound came to form the words that became the Book of the Law. And as a matter of fact, in a footnote here, Crowley is saying, consult especially pages 61 through 119 of this book. The message of the secret chiefs is given in the Book of the Law, which has been published privately for initiates and publicly in the Equinox, Volume 1, Number 7 and Number 10. Also with full details in the Equinox of the Gods. Okay. It is not here useful to discuss the evidence which goes to establish the truth of this claim. And in this particular case, he's talking about the formation of the Golden Dawn, cipher manuscripts, etc. But I think it holds true for the discussion really currently going around. It is not useful to discuss the evidence which goes to establish the truth of this claim. But it is to be observed that it is internal evidence. It exists in the manuscript itself. It would make no difference if the statement of any of the persons concerned turned out to be false. And just going into part 4, the nature of the evidence. These historical digressions have been essential to the understanding of the conditions of this inquiry. All right. Now, I'm not sure whether we're going to pick this up or not, because it's going to be talking about the numbering of the trumps themselves, which is also up for constant debate about whether the strength card should be number 11 and the justice card number 8, or vice versa. But that's something for tomorrow. I have to go now, okay, this morning. It's a busy day, and it's going to end up with a little meeting at the new lodge space of 418 Lodge this afternoon, or this evening. And Constance is going to bake banana bread. Not that kind of banana bread, but she... Anyway, I'm sorry to have to have appeared early today, but it was either now or never. So until tomorrow at the normal time, let's hope. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.